Um, we've talked about this off air. There's this word, this term that people throw out all over the place that can be a little overwhelming and a little ambiguous. Um, it's the change management, right? It's like, yeah, what does that mean? Like, what does that mean? Uh,
Hmm.
um, Simplify the term and talk
Mhm.
about, an example or two that you have as it relates to what that looks like in an organization. Some examples of it.
Sure. I didn't know really about change management until I went to work with Julie, my business partner. And she's a change management practitioner, certified to teach all of it and has amazing experience. And I didn't I didn't know what I needed to know until obviously I worked with her, and I am amazed. Change management, I can see where you think that, oh man, change, everything's change, or it's this huge ambiguous term like that people just like to throw on stuff. Let's go do change management. But to make it simple, it's a method to communicate. It could be for change, like you're changing a process. It could be for introducing something new, um, at a company, or your home or your neighborhood or anything. And it takes into account, the customer of the who's going to be impacted by it. And that's one of the biggest things. And we follow, it's called ADKAR. So awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, and reinforcement. And it makes you ask a lot of questions. How do I, make make Baxter aware that all of a sudden, I don't know, you're going to have to go back in the office, right? No ifs, ands, or buts. That's the way it is. I can't just roll it out and say no ifs, ands, or buts. That's the way it is. I have to, hey, starting on April 1st, we're going to be going back to the office because we collaborate so well, and we're going to have vaccines and whatever else. And I have to build into your desire, your personal desire to actually want to go back in the office. And maybe this isn't the best example, um, but I need to tell the story in a way to get you on board. So you're not disgruntled. You're not gossiping behind the scenes. You're not demonstrating resistance, right? You're my customer in this communication. And then knowledge and ability, when it's going to happen. Knowledge for sure would be to let you know why it's going to be safe, how we're helping everyone, be socially distant and clean, and maybe you only go in once a week, and that's it, right? And it's for specific reasons. And then finally, obviously, the ability is you demonstrating you can go into the office and safe and be safe, and the protocols are working. And the reinforcement is the backup. Hey, thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you for coming in on your day. Thank you for listening and following the instructions and washing your hands and cleaning your stations and doing all these things, right? So I am rewarding you, through verbal reinforcement, obviously. And so the it the I saw it happen at a company. I was part of it, and I didn't know it was happening. This company wasn't the best in communication or rolling things out, and we were getting a new HRIS, so like a PeopleSoft, or I think ADP is a software. I don't. There's other ones out there, and it was communicated that it was happening in a certain date. There was signs all over. We got little login cards at our desks so I could remember my name and my password. It just kind of showed up one day. But then there was an email in my inbox saying, you just received, this little card. When we switch to whatever system it is, you can then log in. Once I had a question on something, I went to our admin and said, "Hey, Wendy, what do I do?" She's like, "Remember that card that you got 2 months ago?" She's like, "Open your desk. I'm sure it's in your." And sure enough, I opened my drawer of my desk, and there it was. And I'm like, "It's amazing. It was so easy. It wasn't work for me. It was simple." As a customer of it, I'm like, "Holy smokes!" Like, it was phenomenal. Fast forward a couple years, I was talking to the HR, and an HR individual at this company, and I said, that was phenomenal. It was easy. It was painless. I got everything I needed. I didn't have to go sit in a webinar or anything. The communication came to me. And he's like, yes, that company has a phenomenal change management plan that they give to companies and say,
Mm,
execute. Here are your steps. Here's when you do things like the lead time, suggest who's going to do it. And it was amazing. And I'm like, oh, change management made it easy for our employees, right? The concept of change management.
Sure.
Um, and I could probably use change management on my kids to use them as potty training, right? I, hey, we're going to start potty training, and then there's a desire like, hey, no more pull-ups, no more diapers, freedom, right? Big kid status, right? I'm getting into their desire. And then obviously teaching and practicing, teaching and practicing, teaching and practicing. And then reinforcement could be an M&M, right? Or a sticker or a lollipop or cool underwear, So I mean, again, that's you're really understanding your customer when you are deploying change management thinking.
That audience and how we
Hmm.
can relate to that audience is so important at every level. I mean, you just gave,
Hmm.
three different examples, right? And yeah, you got to first figure out where people are,
Hmm.
communicate with them and sort of get that buy-in.